FYI, our Black Friday through Cyber Monday deal goes live a little bit early this year. It starts on the 26th. That is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and it runs a little bit later. Yes, we are extending it through the following Tuesday, that is December 12th. This is the best deal we have ever launched or done. We've never offered some of these prices. It is up to 50% off site-wide, depending on obviously what product you get. The discounts will be different. No code needed. It all gets applied in the cart. We have t-shirts as low as $14.99. We have hats as low as $11.99. Again, deals we've never offered before. Make sure to check out fademe.store or go to guybostonsports.com/store. It'll take you to the same place. Again, it starts Wednesday the 26th and runs all the way through Tuesday the 2nd. Really excited about this. Go pick up some merch. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We got Monday Night Football, 49ers taking on the Panthers. In today's video, I'm going to dive into this game. I'll break it down. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about a few player props that I like within this game as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to ride with me, or if you do want to fade me, all of that is going to be absolutely free down in the pinned comment. Before we get going here, guys, make sure to go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop all of your favorite plays for this game down in the comments. I've seen a bunch of people on social media saying that this is a dud of a Monday Night Football game, and maybe it will be. But I will say, I think we found some nice little nuggets, and I'm actually excited for this one. So let's go ahead and waste no more time and dive into it. We have the 49ers, like I mentioned, taking on Carolina. 49ers right now, 7.5-point favorites. That total is way up there at 49.5. And I say way up there because we've had a couple inconsistent offensive teams on our hands here, right? Now, before we do get into the offense, let's talk a little bit about just both these teams overall, right? 49ers, 7-4 on the season, 6-5 against the number. They're 2-2 at home. Yeah, they're 5-2 on the road, but they're home here. Panthers, 6-5 on the year, which is actually quite surprising. Like, I don't think I pegged this Panthers team through 11 games to be above 500, to have a winning record. They're 7-4 against the number, and on the road, 3-3. In terms of what we have from an injury standpoint, nothing too crazy. I mean, Brock Purdy is healthy. That's obviously something that's worth noting. I guess the newest and most notable would be Tatum Bethune there listed as out, Luke Gifford listed as questionable. So yeah, kind of the middle of that defense. Maybe we'll keep an eye on it there. But on the Carolina side of things, again, nothing too worthy of note other than the center. His name's escaping me right now, but he's not. Mays. He's out of this one, so that's obviously important. And then their linebackers a little banged up as well with Rosenboom and Wallace. So again, kind of the main stakeholders here are playing. Brock Purdy's back. Bryce Young is healthy. Ted McMillan, Christian McCaffrey, those guys looking like they're all good to go. I don't know if we should put too much stock into what we've seen lately out of the Panthers, but they've had some really good defensive games lately. 13 points allowed to Green Bay, 17 points allowed to New Orleans, yeah, and then 27, but it went to overtime against Atlanta, and they won the end of that game, so third quarter on, including overtime, it was like 20-6 or something like that, 20-3 it might have been that they won that game. So the Panthers have been playing some really good football last 3 weeks. On the other side of things, if we're sticking in the defensive lane here, the 49ers averaging 29.3 points allowed to their opponents over the last 3 weeks. Now, let's hold our horses and pump the brakes a little bit. We saw the Rams put up 40+ on them. That's obviously going to skew things a little bit, but nonetheless, if this Panthers defense continues to play really well, it may be a decent spot to kind of talk about and focus on, right? But before we even get there, yeah, I'm teasing you with the carrot in front of the horse. Let's talk about the Panthers offense against that 49ers defense that I just mentioned. The 49ers defense that hasn't been playing all that well. The 49ers defense that definitely got kicked in the you-know-what the minute Fred Warner was out, right? So this is Niners team that's going to play a lot of zone. We could see it here on the NFL dashboard. They play a decent amount of zone, and guess what? That looks like it's pretty damn good news for Bryce Young. His yards per attempt go up. his completion percentage goes up, interception rate drops, DVOA is better than compared to man, and his EPA is a positive 7.3 versus man, it's a negative 12.7. Now, that's obviously good news, but what I think might even be the better news to note here is the fact that San Francisco, look at that, man, 32nd in terms of pressure rate, dead last in the league, and that is very important because Bryce Young, just 456% of his passes get completed against pressure. That is not a good number, but that is not something that we have to worry about on the side of Bryce Young in this game because I'd be hard-pressed to believe that San Francisco's going to generate, like, serious pressure here, right? Obviously, they've had injuries that they've dealt with, Nick Bosa being one to, note in terms of, pressure and all that, but still, you got to play the hand you're dealt, and that doesn't look like they're going to be pressuring Bryce Young all that much, so I think that he's actually in a decent enough spot. From a run game perspective, Carolina has been a team that has really tried to establish the run this year. They run it at like the 6th highest clip through the first 11 weeks. And they're top 10 in rushing yards per game. Now, they're a little bit less efficient than that might seem. 15th in terms of yards per carry, just at 4.4. Last 3 games at 3.7. So maybe the ground attack hasn't been all that great. But they're going up against a 49ers team that doesn't really stop the inside zone. And Carolina does run a decent amount of inside zone. Number 1 in terms of frequency in the league. So when I say decent amount, a decent amount, you know what I mean? So there might be some angles to be able to trust Dowdle and the rush attack here, but I don't know if it, completely parallels to what I just said about Bryce Young. No pressure. He's going to see zone. I think this is a good spot for Bryce Young, and I do believe the Panthers can move the ball to some degree, more so in the hands of Bryce Young through the air, and we'll talk about him when we get to player props. But I don't necessarily mind the ground game, at least to start the game. That's something we'll talk about in a little bit as well. Let's talk about this 49ers squad, their offense, and how they might fare against, like I mentioned, a Panthers defense that actually has looked very good the last few weeks here. Now, if we jump back into the dashboard, which, guys, by the way, GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area, sign up here. If you're watching this still in November, which for this game I would imagine you are, you can still get your first month for just $4.99 for the all sports dashboard package. EV5 is the code. EV5, you get it for $4.99. But what we're talking about here is Brock Purdy, who just came back and lit up the Cardinals. You dropped 40-plus points on them, right? He's going to see something very similar defensively that Bryce Young's going to see. A lot of zone and not much pressure. It's funny. We have the 32nd and 31st ranked pressure team. There's a little bit of a, mixed bag here in terms of Brock Purdy versus zone. I will caution. It's like, guys, we have because of the injuries and the missed games, we have like a mixed bag of what we're getting out of Brock Purdy, sample size and all that. So I would just trust what we've seen out of Brock Purdy. I almost said Bryce Purdy. Brock Purdy in the past, which would be, that he can deal with both of these defenses, man versus zone, right? Not going to be exceptional against either one of them, but in terms of taking care of the ball and everything like that, I do trust it. You can see his interception rate numbers, not all that great this year, but again, smallish sample size. The biggest thing to note, and we kind of already talked about it, was the pressure. 31st is where this Panthers team, lies. Only the 49ers worse than them, and that's really important. Look at Brock Purdy this year against pressure. 4.7 yards per attempt, terrible. 47.4 completion percentage, terrible. Interception rate of 10.5. Are you kidding me? A DVOA of negative 88.8%, and then an EPA, estimated points added, expected points added, minus 15. But again, like Bryce Young, I don't think we have to worry about the pressure here. So Brock Purdy being able to have, a healthy Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings healthy in this one. Like, we could see Brock Purdy also do some damage as well. Now, what about the run game? We did just mention, the Christian McCaffrey. He's probably going to be the most talented guy on the entire field. This is a Panthers run defense that I don't know how much I'm trusting right now. 21st in rushing yards per carry last 3 weeks, though. And again, is it the competition they played, or is that real, that those last 3 weeks? Because they've allowed less than 4 yards per carry in the last 4 weeks. That's pretty damn good. So we shall see there, but I do think Christian McCaffrey will be viable in this game, and that's massive if you are riding with the 49ers, because, again, the most talented guy on the field being in a good situation can only bode well for a team, right? So I don't mind the idea of San Francisco moving the ball, again, through the air and on the ground, kind of like we talked about with Carolina. I would still lean towards Brock Purdy having a better game than truly just running between the tackles and everything like that. Now, we talked about the fact that the 49ers aren't good against the run scheme that this Carolina team runs, right? Kind of a similar story when we look at, the Carolina defense. Now, this 49ers team runs outside zone and inside zone. They run the outside zone a tad more, I guess, but what would you do here, right? You could see Carolina second to last in terms of yards per carry against in terms of inside zone, and then they're middle of the pack in outside zone. If I'm this 49er squad, I'm saying let's draw up 99% of our runs as the inside zone and attack there. So again, I do believe both these offenses can kind of move the rock. So let's talk about where we lean in terms of our side and our total. We can start with the total because I've already kind of hinted at it. I don't mind the idea of an over here. Yes, you look at these two squads and it's like the Panthers averaging less than 20 points per game this season. The 49ers just a little bit above that. Yeah, I do get it, and it does make sense to me. I understand that it kind of looks like a messy one, but with both of these quarterbacks in what I would deem decent enough situations, and I actually prefer the passing game over the rushing game, then hell yeah, I'll look at that over 49.5. I will say, and it doesn't correlate whatsoever, but it is kind of where my mind is at right now, I don't mind a first quarter under 9.5, 10.5, depending on what you can get and the odds that you can, tolerate. But I think both these squads are going to come into the game and try to establish the run. I think there's going to be more points late in the game, and as the teams adapt, we'll see some more passing and more success through the air. But I do think the Panthers, run the ball a ton. Again, like a 6th highest rated in terms of frequency team. And the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey's the most talented guy in this game. I think that they'll try to mix him in, and we just saw those inside zone numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see kind of like a battle in the trenches to start out this game, and it's, 7-3 maximum. That's why I think that 10.5 could be pretty damn important. So I don't mind a first quarter under that ultimately ends up leading to a full game over. I know, a little weird. Sound the psycho alert alarm. Doesn't really correlate, but it's kind of how I see this one going. In terms of a side, there's not enough on the 49ers side for me to be laying anything more than a touchdown. I'm going to lean Panthers plus the 7.5, and honestly, it's a pretty strong lean. Like, there is a good chance that we end up taking those 7.5 points. You can get good odds with it right now, and I think Bryce Young has a decent enough game, and even if they are trailing, I think he has a decent enough game to keep them within a score. So give me the Panthers plus the 7.5. Now, guys, before we do move on to the player prop portion of today's show, I want to let you know that Underdog is hooking you up. We've talked about Christian McCaffrey a ton already, right? Well, guess what? They got a gimme pick right there. Rushing plus receiving yards. Yeah, if he gets one rushing or receiving yard, you're cashing that square. Go check it out, guys. Link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. And that's not even the best deal they're offering you, that free square. You can play just $5. You get $100. New customers play just $5. You get $100. Are you kidding me? You 20x that $5? Do not miss this deal. I tell you guys, I've been telling you guys for a couple weeks now, I don't know how long this is going to run for. You don't want to be looking back being like, damn, I love Underdog, I'm hopping on it, but I missed on the turn 5 into 100 deal. Go ahead and do it, guys. That link will be down below again in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or just use code GUYBOSTON when signing up. You should get all those goodies, including that CMAC free square. Now, what I do want to look at here from a player prop perspective, the first one's going to look a little bit ugly. Brycey boy, we talked about him. I think he's in a good situation. Over 199.5 through the air. He's coming off of a crazy game. It did go to overtime again. The second half, he absolutely went off. You can see first half, he had 130, but he still finished with 440. So he threw for a ton in that second half, right? But I just like him for the full game here. Go get your 200, man, and decent enough odds. I would say, you don't want to play this into the minus 150s or anything like that. You can bump this to, 203 or something if you want some better odds there. But I'm really comfortable at minus 132 for him to get 200 passing yards. Right now, 49ers allowing 241 to their opponents, ranked just 28th in the entire league. You could see their defense in terms of passing. It's right there. Not all that tremendous. But the ground game isn't bad, right? I said that because of the inside zone look that the Panthers may be able to move the ball, but I've also said that I think, we'll try to move the ball there, and then they may kind of slow down and be like, oh, it's actually the quarterback that's going to get the job done. So we could be like, down to this line at halftime, and Bryce Young just goes off again like he did last week. So I do really like the spot for him. You could see some of these quarterbacks, the 5 most recent ones they've seen. Jacoby Brissett, 452 against them. Stafford, 280. Jackson Dart, who, might as well kick the ball with his legs instead of throwing it. He almost threw for 200 at 191. CJ Stroud, 318. CJ Stroud. Michael Penix Jr., 241. There's a lot of angles to get Bryce Young going here. And again, if we go back to the dashboard, you can see he's going to see zone, and he's going to see zone here, and he's not going to get pressured. That is a recipe for success for Brycey boy. So give me him 199.5. We're looking at the over. I like Christian McCaffrey pretty much in any way you can play him this week as well, but I especially like him when it comes to the receiving yards, or you want to get a little bit frisky and look for his, I think it was receptions at over 5.5 for plus money there. Check out Carolina. Yeah, they're not allowing a lot of receptions, but to the running back, boom, a decent amount of reception there. You can see the game log against a lot of greens. Nobody hit that 6 number, but I don't know. Maybe Bijan's the closest parallel here, but I don't know if we have anyone that is Christian McCaffrey-esque receiving out of the backfield. That dude is a damn wide receiver 1 somehow this year. You know what I mean? Which, when I say somehow, he's that talented. If you want to look at something that may look a little bit better, because even look at the hit rate, right? You could see recently, he's not really catching the ball, and honestly, the targets dropped a little bit too. And this has a lot to do with Juwan Jennings, Pearsall, all these guys getting healthy, but the yards are still there, right? He's averaging the season 66.5 receiving yards. Last 5 games, though he's only hit in 3 of the 5, averaging 57.6. You can get him at, I think, 42.5 is still up there. Yeah, minus 115 over on DK. By the way, the tool I'm using, guys, Outlier, 7-day free trial link down in the description. Check it out. You will never turn back. It's awesome. But I do like Christian McCaffrey here in this spot. Again, you look at them, middle of the pack in terms of, receiving yards to the running back, but that receptions is definitely juicy as well. They're bottom, 7 in the league, and when it comes to that. The last player prop I want to share, we're going to stay on the San Fran side of things. Juwan Jennings. I mean, this guy, in terms of his targets, look at this. When he plays, which obviously he's been healthy, 7, 7, 5, 9, 6 targets here. Really do like to see that. Even earlier in the year, obviously this dude was just crushing it in terms of targets. He's averaging 6.2 targets per game. If we're going to get 6, 7 targets from this guy, I think he can easily get 40 receiving yards. If that's a little bit too juice for you, I'm not going to sit here and say that's it's not a good look to maybe bump this thing up to 44.5. I don't mind that either. You can see Carolina pretty good in terms of receiving yards, but like I said, if you can consider me the little birdie, consider me saying the little birdie told you that I think Carolina is going to be playing in this game and be close and maybe even having the lead. If they have the lead, you'll see some more passing coming from San Francisco, right? Which they already are a team that throws the ball, 58% of the time. So I do like the idea of Juwan Jennings being here, especially when you factor this in. 39.5. His longest reception numbers he hit in 4 straight weeks is 19.5. So he could hit half of this just based on what, the books are throwing as their middle number for his longest reception. If you're giving me technically a 50-50 chance of him having a 20-yard catch, just one catch, I really like the idea of him stumbling across, 20 more yards at some point throughout the game. Even his receptions line, right? It's super, super juiced to 3.5. So even the odds makers are telling us odds are he's going to have at least 4 catches, right? When we take a peek at his average yards per reception, 11.1. So let's just call it 11. If he's going to have, based on the odds makers' numbers, he's going to have, 11 yards per catch, and he's going to get 4 catches, boom, we're talking 44 yards. So even just using their own numbers against him, I think Juwan Jennings could be a good look here as well. Guys, those are the props I have as of right now, but like I always tell you, make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment for the final plays. If we add anything, change anything like that, that's where we show what we have locked in ourselves. Let's keep going here. I think this is going to be a better game than most people think. I'm excited for it. Hope you guys are too. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 20. We're a little shy of it, but just about 20 minutes into it. Really do appreciate everyone tuning in. Let me know all your favorite plays, all your favorite plays down in the comments. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.